5 tips,
Welcome to
for
the
you,
Boss
for anyone that's
Experience,
thinking of starting
the
a
podcast that
business.
gives you actionable tips and
Here we are, we're
strategies to
approaching a
start
new
your
year.
business.
And with every
And
new
I'm your
year
host,
comes new
Michele
goals.
Davis.
Everyone always
Let's get
has
started.
new goals, new resolutions. And so, so these 5 tips are for anyone who's thinking of starting a business, because with every new year, you always have a new group of people who want to start a business and simply don't know where to start. So tip 1 is think about what you're passionate about. What are you passionate about? Where do your skills lie? And just like you think of your skills, and you assess your skills and your expertise when you're looking for a job, do the same process when you're trying to start your business. So if you start a business based on what you're passionate about, you can connect better with people that you could potentially solve a problem for, and people that would want your product or service, right? Because when you're passionate about it, you can really convey what the transformation is, whether it's something personal that you've been through, that you are launching your business on, whatever the case may be. You can build a better connection with your potential buyers when you're passionate about it. If you're not passionate about what you're selling, you're just selling something because it's going to make you money, that can come across to your potential clients as well. So just keep that in mind. And plus, it makes a happier you when you build a business based on what you're passionate about. Because if you're building a business and it's something you don't really care about, the minute things don't work in your favor, your revenue's down, unexpectedly, you're going to bail. You're going to bail, and you're going to bail fast and quick, and you're never going to take the time to kind of rebuild it. And so that's, my tip 1. So tip 2 is make sure you're, building a business based on a problem that you're going to solve for people. So people buy solutions, they don't buy products and services. So you have to be clear, and you have to know what problem you're solving for people, and for what people you're solving that problem for, and when you're developing your business, and because that leads into everything else. And so you don't want to go out of your way to create a business idea or a business around something you're passionate about, but then you kind of lose sight on the fact that you're not solving a problem for people. So you always have to be problem focused, and you have to keep in mind that you need to be able to solve a problem for people to be interested in your product or service. Which brings me to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is, once you know what you're passionate about, you know what problem you're solving for people, tip number 3 is to do your research. Know your market. Know what industry you're entering. What's happening in that industry. Is there a need for your product? Is your product, something that people want? Will people pay to solve this problem that you're trying to solve? And if so, how much? What kind of offers are out there? Who is your competition, and what are they offering? What kind of gaps can you fill? So those are all the things you want to consider when you're looking at your market research. And it's a very important step, but yet so many people launch courses, they launch programs, they launch products, they launch businesses, and they don't take the time to do the research, especially entrepreneurs. Because we tend to kind of go it on our own. We don't necessarily seek out funding that requires us to do the planning part. And so, you always want to make sure you plan. You always want to make sure you know what's happening in your industry. So tip 4, have a launch strategy. So before you ever launch your product, you want to know what is going to be your strategy for getting the eyes of potential buyers on your product or service. How are you going to bring them to you? And so you want to make sure you have that all squared away, so that you're not trying to launch this product and you have the product in the market and you're not getting the traffic you want to your product or service, or your messaging is off. So you need to develop your marketing messaging so that people know what it is that what solution you can provide them. So you want to make sure you're clear on that. And my fifth and final tip is, as you're, building out your business, make sure you're building your business systems as well. And there's a few reasons why you want to do that. Number one is, if you don't have these systems, kind of built out, is, you can't scale. You'll never scale past solopreneur status if you don't have your systems built out. So it's very important that you do that. Number two, you want to know what's working and what's not working. So if you don't have systems in your business and you're kind of, operating on a whim, you don't know what's working with your marketing. You don't know what's working with, some of the ads, what ads are performing better than others, what strategies are performing better than others. Do you like this business system versus that business system? Are you monitoring everything that you should based on the this new software that, someone convinced you to buy? So you have to know how your business is operating, and you need to have, systems in place to help you monitor how effective these things are. And the third reason you want to have systems in place is so that you can train others to replicate your results. So if you don't have systems in place and nothing's documented, you don't know what's working, it's really hard for someone to replicate your results because they don't know what you're doing. And that is probably the biggest problem I see when we work with a lot of business owners. The business owner knows a lot about what they're doing, but they're not able to convey it to the people that are their teams and the employees that they're working within their business. And so that creates a problem, because if your employees don't know what your systems are, if you don't know what your systems are, how are your employees going to know what your systems are? It's crazy. So you have to have these systems documented. Otherwise, you can't expect your team to replicate any results if you haven't replicated results for yourself. And you have to have it documented so that you can train people for things to be efficient and for you to get the same results every time. And so that is how you'll scale, and that is how you'll grow. So those are my 5 tips to, starting your business,